The Stephen Pope Ask Me Any Amazon Question. We'll be going live in under 5 minutes. The My Amazon Guy Ask Me Any Amazon Question. Type your question into the comments section right now. We're going to mic check. This is Stephen Colt. We're going to go live here in about 4 minutes. We're going to talk today with a guest about sourcing, launching, and profit. You guys surely. And then my backstage guest, Ahmad. We can't talk because it's actually live right now. Everybody can hear this. We'll be going live in an hour here in 3 minutes. Are you ready to ask me any Amazon question? Going live in under 1 minute. Ask me a PPC question, SEO, design, catalog. It's my passion to help the Amazon community, and I'm here to answer your questions. and welcome to the My Amazon Guy podcast. Today's guest, Ahmad. Welcome. How are you doing, man?
Hey, Steven. I'm good. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy Wednesday. So super excited to talk today. Our topic for our guest is going to be one of his expertises is sourcing and launching products, as well as how to do all of this profitably. So we have been accidentally astroturfing Ahmad's meetups. And he's smiling here because he knows what I'm talking about. Let me flip my light on here. We've been trying to go around to a lot of Amazon meetups and just add value wherever we can. And so we've been showing up to some of his. If you guys haven't checked out one of his meetups, I just want to give it a quick plug. It's done through the Meetup app, and it's great for beginners, especially those that are going through the sourcing process for the first time. You guys absolutely need to connect and follow the meetups. He gives a lot of free advice in these conversations. On today's podcast, though, he's going to give his best. We're going to see the glimpse of the best that he has to offer on some of these topics. So, how did I do for an intro there?
That's awesome, dude. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and Geraldine, give me a mic check on Ahmad. Is he coming in okay? All right, so let's kick things off. So. For an agenda for our conversation today, if anybody has a question on how to source, launch, or do so profitably, those are going to be the best key questions to ask today. All right. So with that in mind, can you introduce your background? Why are you an expert on some of this?
Yeah, sure. So again, my name is Ahmad Noory. I've been in the Amazon world for about 5 years now. I started off with the arbitrage side. My wife started off doing this as sort of a side hustle. I had another business. And then once I saw the potential for it, I sold my other businesses and sort of dove deep, head first into the deep end on this. We haven't looked back. We did 7 figures in our first 12 months doing just retail and online arbitrage. We then grew it into a wholesale model, and we have 2 private label brands on Amazon. And throughout that process, we grew out of the house because we started doing it in the garage. And then sort of once I had the first truck pull up with a few pallets outside the garage, I said, it's time to get a warehouse. So we got a warehouse in 2019, and we had some employees. And then COVID hit. With COVID came a lot of demand from friends and family. And hey, we need, can you help us? I know you're on Amazon. We want to start doing it. So I started offering services. I started helping them out, and what that help became services. One of them was a prep and pack center that came out of it, and now it's become a pretty robust 3PL. And then the other one was also a coaching program that we started offering, which was predominantly for online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, and the wholesale model. And we've just recently upgraded to add private label to it as well. And from there, our podcast came about, then the YouTube channel, and now the Meetup community. And the Meetup community is my pride and joy.
I can tell. I've been there. I've heard about So Jason and John from our team has also come to some of yours, and so this podcast is primarily for me to give back to Ahmad for what he is doing for the community. Because I got to be honest, I think you're a gem, and a lot of people out there, they're like, hey, pay me lots of money and I'll take care of things for you, but I won't tell you how I do it. And you're one of the good guys in the space. You tell everybody exactly what you do and how you do it and why you do it. But hey, if you want to hire me to help you along the way, then by all means do so. And everybody, of course, has a business model. All right, so yeah, go ahead. You can react.
I was gonna say, thankfully, I'm doing well enough to where I'm not out there trying to going out and begging for business. Business is great. I have a very solid core number of clients. Prep's going well. And then we recently, through the Meetup community, like again, we're going to keep coming back to the Meetup community a lot, I think, today, because it really is such an amazing venue to meet and network with other like-minded people.
Way cheaper than trying to go to Prosper. Way cheaper.
A little bit.
To go to these conferences, just a tiny bit. So, and this has kind of been part of my journey in the last year. Is I showed up to all these conferences. I've been on the speaker circuit, and quite frankly, sellers are not showing up to these events. And so if you're a seller trying to figure out how to connect with other sellers, and the reason you want to do this is because when you have a forum, you have a group of mates, you're going to go farther, right? You've heard the saying, you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to actually grow and scale, you need a team. And so anyway, so this is very unusual for me to do a 5-minute plug on showing up to something, but this is something special. You guys need to pay attention to it. All right. So with that in mind, let's kick things off. We got a few people watching us right now. We got, hey, keep up the good work. Great. You've impressed the entire Pakistani youngster community. You guys are super motivated out there in Pakistan. Thank you very much. Kevin says, good afternoon from Lakeland, Florida. We have a client that's coming in and saying, thank you for the great job on my product listing optimization. You are so welcome. Really, really great to hear that. And then we've got a bunch of questions already in the space. I want to open up, though, with kind of a generic question, and then we're going to start taking the questions. So if you guys are watching right now, you got a question about him or what he does or what he can speak to today, post it in the comments now. Why is this process so hard? That is my opening question for you.
Are we talking about sourcing?
We're going to talk about Amazon generically, and I know you're going to talk about sourcing and launching. You can take that question however you want, teed up for you.
Awesome. Let's talk about Amazon then. Amazon, the learning curve on Amazon, regardless of which business model you have or that you want to pursue, is extremely steep. It's like any other business, but especially on Amazon. Amazon's a data company, so they bombard you with data. And so if you don't know how to analyze that data and how to make sense of that data, you're going to be in a heap of trouble. And in order to learn how to understand the nuances of what it means to be an Amazon seller and really set yourself apart from that, you need to take the time and find the ways to actually learn the process. It's not a get rich quick scheme. I mean, anybody that tells you that, hey, if you see the TikTok videos and they say, oh, I'm making $10,000 a day on Amazon, it is not a get rich quick scheme. It requires hard work. It's a bona fide business that you are starting. There is no shortcuts to this. If you don't take the time to actually learn the process and actually do the process, you're not going to succeed in it. But the good thing is that if you do take the time, if you find the right mentors, if you find the right community, if you level up your squad and bring the right people around you, if you get a coach, whatever it might be for you, and you actually get through that initial learning curve, you're going to be well ahead of the game compared to everybody else. And it is, in my opinion, it's a great thing that it's so hard, because it really weeds out all the garage sale moms and all the people that are doing it just, haphazardly. It's not a bad thing. It just requires you to be focused, dedicated, and make this a real commitment, not just sort of a hobby.
A job or a hobby, yeah. All right, so we're going to jump into the questions here. Hello, I did a test order of, say, 300 units. Would you still try and index PPC for all keywords, or best to start slowly and slowly increase the traffic due to the worry of going out of stock for a few months? I'm going to give the 30-second answer, and then I'll let you take it however you want. Generally speaking, if you're confident in an item, I would go bigger, not smaller. And there's a lot of reasons for that, too many to count. But it's okay if you're doing your first item and you stock out. So that's my opinion. But in terms of answering your direct question, I would go very heavy, not slow when I first start a product launch because of the honeymoon period. All right, so Ahmad, you can take that question however you'd like.
I would say don't start a private label business if you're only going to order 300 units. The amount of, you need to have a very clear idea of where you want your business to go and where you want to take this brand and these products or this product under this brand too. And if you only have enough budget for one order and you're waiting for that money to come back before you put in a second order, private label is not for you yet. You need to save, you need to increase your budget. You need to have at least enough funds for the first 3 orders, which means that you get your first order in, I would recommend no less than 500 units. And then you put in the money and the effort and get the right team in place to run the PPC campaigns, to do your launch strategy, to take advantage of the honeymoon period. And then as soon as sales starts, or even as soon as you launch your strategy, you put your second order in. The one thing you never want to do, in my opinion, is ever run out of stock, especially during your launch. ranking is the most important thing in this business when it comes to private label. And if you rank and then you run out of stock, you lose all of that hard work and all that investment. So I always recommend you have enough budget to make the first 3 orders, and each order should be larger than the previous one.
I endorse what he just said. All right, here's a random question about inventory liquidation. I don't know if you know anything about liquidation. Do you have any suggestions on how to liquidate when things don't go well?
Well, Amazon itself has that liquidation program. So if you're just trying to get out of the business and not do anything else anymore, you can just use their liquidation. You're going to get, maybe 5 to 10%, not even 10%, 5%, 3 to 5% of your.
And he's on the dollar, sir.
Yeah. But if your inventory is private label inventory and you can't even liquidate it through them, it might be better just to have them destroy it if you're not going to use it, rather than pay the fees to have it all shipped back to you and then figure out what to do. It all depends on a lot of this depends on exactly what your products are and whether or not this is something that you're looking to maybe launch on a different platform. Maybe you can put it on Facebook Marketplace, on eBay. Maybe you can put it as a garage sale and sell it to your neighbors. But if you have to make sure you're cognizant of the fact that every single time you place a removal order for these products, you're going to get charged for pick and pack. You're going to get charged for the shipping. So it might not be cost effective for you to actually remove them. So if you're going to liquidate them, just use Amazon's liquidation and just see if you can get anything back.
All right, so let's move on from liquidation. Random questions like that, totally welcome today, guys. If you got that burning question, you can't figure out what to do, this is an appropriate channel to do so. We are focusing a lot today on product sourcing and launching. Feel free to narrow the questions in there if you've got one. We just launched our gourmet peppercorns. Congratulations, by the way. Can we start our B points, I think that means bullet points, with a question, i.e., have you ever tried gourmet peppercorns? Honestly, I've never been asked this question, but I'll be honest, I think it's an easy yes. What do you think?
I agree. I think the bullet points, any content you have on your listing, it's all about keywords, right? So as long as you have the right keywords in there, if you can put it in such a way where it generates interest and it captures somebody's attention, more power to you. Whether it's a question mark or a bold statement or just whatever it might be, as long as you're grabbing their attention. But the most important part is make sure your keywords are embedded throughout the process, throughout the copy that you're putting out there.
All right, let's go to the next one. Scrolling down. Got my first week of brand analytics. All right, that's good. That's important data. One of the best data sources. I talked earlier about how Amazon is a data platform, right? This is my favorite data of the data platform. I see that I have no brand share in the top search queries for overall sales. So running keyword ads on top of the 5 queries, another on the top 5 that have most relevancy. I think he continues this question. I'm already getting more impressions and a few sales on the top query terms. Should I reduce ads to top performer or leave at 5? So I think his question is prioritization of keyword focus. What are your thoughts?
I think if it's working, if I understand the question's correct, if it's working, I would keep going with it. And if the whole point behind doing impressions and setting up your ads is to test them out and see what is working, what's not. And if you're seeing that it's working on a certain level and some other things are not working, then you want to do more of what is working and get rid of or put the keywords that are not working in your negatives. So,
and just to share an experience that I had a product launch for a gift box for mothers. I'm going to be sharing my screen here momentarily to showcase that. And in the first 30 days, I did over $144,000, and it was launched during Mother's Day. So this is the spa gift box. And I spent $11,000 on ads. Over 5,000 of that was on a single keyword, broad match gifts for mom. And 24 hours before Mother's Day, I was able to get organic position #1 for that term. Obviously, that's why this product was so successful, really did well. Now, a year later, I only did 67,000 the second Mother's Day. And I tried to launch 2 additional SKUs, and you'll see I've got them priced at $30. They're basically the same stuff. Did not go as well in the product extension. So the reason I share this experience share is to show that it's okay to focus on just one or two keywords. No problem there. While we're showing my failed SKU extensions, Ahmed, when I'm trying to pick my budget or pick my products to source, my question for you is this: should I launch a bunch of colors or sizes on the same idea, or launch 3 unique ideas? Which is better?
That's actually a pretty good, great question. I'm always a fan of keeping and focusing on one thing and learning and becoming really masterful at that on that one product. So if you're gonna have a game plan of actually launching multiple different products under the same brand, I would say do different variations. The variations are going to become, it's going to give you a lot more data. If you're doing 3 different products, you're actually launching 3 different campaigns. You're going to have to do 3 different of everything. Whereas if you have variations, you can combine your campaigns together. It's also going to help you save significantly on your sourcing costs, because the same product, a different color, is going to be a lot cheaper. It's going to increase the number of or your quantity that you're ordering. So if you're ordering 500 of each, that's actually a 1,500 unit order from the same manufacturer. So you can negotiate a lower cost, as opposed to if you're ordering 3 different widgets from 3 different manufacturers, and so you're not going to have as much of a opportunity to negotiate the prices now.
So there is one reason why those listening may want to go with the 3 unique products, and I'm going to counterbalance Ahmed's answer with this. I agree with what he was saying, by the way, on the focus. You may launch 3 failed variations, or you may have 1 successful variation and 2 failed. But from my experience, every 3 products somebody launches, 1 will fail outright, the 2nd will break even, and the 3rd will be your winner.
The rule of 3. I love that.
Rule of 3. That's one of my favorites. So using the rule of 3, in my brain, it makes more sense to launch 3 unique products. But Ahmed's correct, 100% correct. It's like launching 3 unique products. So it's a strategic question. There's no wrong answer to the question of how you focus. But I'll be honest. I do prefer on the 3 unique launches on my personal stake. Sean Kang asks, best strat on launching a new ASIN with PPC.
So your launch strategy should always include something that has to do with getting reviews. So PPC is absolutely pivotal. You have to have PPC with all of your launch strategies, but you also need to have off Amazon strategies in place. You need to make sure that you have your social media campaigns set up. You need to, if you have influencers that you're going to use, make sure you have them set up. And then you need to make sure you have some kind of a launch strategy to try to really bring in that initial 21 reviews as soon as possible. PPC is great. Vine is absolutely crucial for that. But definitely Amazon rewards you significantly for off Amazon traffic that you bring to it. So definitely.
What do you mean reviews are important? I don't understand why I need 5 stars on my product. Why can't I just launch with no reviews, Ahmed?
I mean, you can launch with no reviews. You're actually launching with no reviews, but put yourself in. I mean, I'm sure everybody listening here and watching here is an Amazon customer, is a buyer on Amazon. I always check the reviews when I buy something. It does matter. Reviews matter. Plus, Amazon gives, once you hit that 21 review mark, you're going to get ranked better organically, as opposed to if you only have 5 or 6 reviews. So it's.
But I see the Chinese ranking #1 in my category with 0 reviews. How are they doing it?
Don't ever compare yourself to the Chinese. They won't last. I mean, what was it last year that they knocked out 11,000 Chinese sellers?
That's a big number.
Yeah, it's yeah. You always wanna compare yourself to your best self, to yesterday and what you did yesterday. You can't. I mean, you have competitors and you should always be aware of them, but you have over 100,000 employees in Shenzhen sitting there trying to find products that are selling well to copy. There's no way you and I could ever sort of match them or compete against them. We just have to focus on doing things with integrity, making sure that we're within Amazon's terms of service, making sure we do things the proper way, the right way, so that in the long term we succeed significantly, as opposed to what they're doing, which is a quick, let me just take as much money as I can.
Put food on the table today and forget the table next week. Not even next year. Just screw next week.
Yep.
All right. Very great principles you just espoused there. I'm going to go a little bit deeper on one of them, and that was the blue ocean strategy that you were talking about. Very good business book, by the way. And what blue ocean talks about is basically ignore your competition. If you follow your competition, you're going to act like your competition. You're going to fall to the same traps of your competition. Instead, just give the customers what they want, right? And if you focus on giving value, and this is true for any business ever. If we were talking about my agency, right? We have 300 brands we use full-time service for. And if I try and act like my competing agency, my product service will actually get worse. But if I just call up my customer and ask them 3 basic questions, what is it that we're doing that you want us to do more of? What are we doing that you want us to stop doing? And what are we not doing that you want us to start doing? Those 3 basic questions, every business ever needs to understand from their customers. So Ahmad taught that principle indirectly when he talked about don't compare yourself. So I very much align with that. A different Sean asks, trying to rank for a keyword like protein shaker, and there's another keyword like protein shaker with wire whisk. Do I need to rank for the seed keyword, which is protein shaker, or do I need both? My hot take, go for both. Obviously, if you do a broad match on the protein shaker, you'll also have ads on the wire whisk, but you're going to be better off by having additional campaign structure on the specific as well. Ahmad, what are your thoughts?
I agree. I agree with exactly what you said. That would have been my answer.
All right, I'm gonna cue you up next. Assuming you've got a product and stock is about to land, what are the crucial steps to take launching through to knowing you have a profitable product? How long should each step take? This is a really good one.
Assuming you have a product and stock is about to land, what are crucial steps to take to launch and launching through to knowing?
So this is like, is the product successful? How do I know? Right? Like at what stage am I going to know?
Your metrics, yeah. Okay. So hopefully you've done your homework up until now, and when you did your research to select the product and send it. Your launch strategy is going to be depending on what you have. If you're doing specifically just PPC, you definitely want to have your ROAS and your tacos in check at all times. You want to make sure you keep an eye on those. Sales are important. Profitability is definitely important. But then, as I mentioned earlier, if you don't have off Amazon marketing, you need to make sure you have that, and you have to keep track of how many of those posts, of those backlinks, of those influencer messages and influencer posts are actually turning into sales. If you have any attribution links on the back end, you need to make sure you keep track of how many of them are turning into sales. And then you want to keep an eye on the ratio between your paid for sales, meaning advertising sales, versus your organic sales. And you want to make sure that your goal is to continuously increase that ratio to the organics favor. Those are some key features, key metrics to keep an eye on as you start selling your product initially, and your review count, of course.
So today we're talking about product sourcing, launching, and profits. C asks, assuming you've got a product and stock is about to land. Oops, I clicked on the wrong one here. Is it a good idea to go to China and source myself, or are there better ways to figure that out?
Don't do it yourself. I'm actually even against.
He's biased by saying this, but he's also right. He's very right.
No, I'm not saying come to me. I'm just saying don't do it yourself. Find somebody that you trust.
But people should go to you, Ahmad. You're a sourcing expert, sourcing genius. I highly recommend people check you out and use you as a source. By the way, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the website?
It's called The Source Squad, thesourcesquad.com. And my email address is ahmad@thesourcesquad.com.
So there's the website. You can see it right there. Leaders in global product sourcing. So he focuses on this full time. All right. So why should somebody not do this themselves from scratch?
I'll answer that with just my own personal experience. My wife and I, when we were first launching our first private label brand, We went through Alibaba. This was a while back. We went through Alibaba. We found a factory. She actually did a lot of research and interviewed a lot of different representatives, and we found a factory. We got the samples. The sample looked amazing, and we placed an order. And when the order hit Amazon, and we launched our strategy, and we spent a lot of money on the launch. We started getting these negative feedbacks that the product wasn't what the pictures were showing. The product wasn't what it was, and we made the mistake of not actually checking the product. We had it directly shipped to Amazon, and we closed the listing.
Once you send direct shipment labels to your manufacturer, they know they have you.
That absolutely, yeah. I mean, we made so many rookie mistakes when we first launched our first private label brand, but it's that's main reason is because if you don't know what you're doing, unfortunately, the Chinese companies and the Chinese reps are just there to make a quick buck. They're not looking at it as a long-term viable relationship with you that they want to help you grow. They're looking to try to get as much profit out of that deal as possible. They're not thinking about the next order or the next order. They're thinking, hey, this guy's paying me $10,000. I can either do this the right way and it'll cost me $3,000, or I can do it real quick and spend $1,000 and send the products over to them. And that's just one small example of so many other variables that could come into play if you try to go do it yourself. Definitely hire somebody that knows what they're doing. Definitely hire somebody that has boots on the ground that can go in and do quality control checks during the production phase, and don't do it yourself. Otherwise, you'll be flushing money down the toilet.
How many days would it take for Amazon to stock my product in their warehouse and make it live? And I realize there's a timing question on this depending on when they ship it during the year. So please definitely talk about that too.
It's going to be anywhere from a day to 365 days.
He went that direction. All right.
It's good luck with coming up with a real viable answer for this one. Amazon, it depends in so many different factors. Some of their FCs can process things really fast. They're really good. Some of them are not, and things can sit there. It will depend if you're sending pallets or SPD, small parcel delivery. It depends on how many units you've shipped. It depends on whether or not, where they're going to transfer them internally. Because once it goes to the main warehouse that you're sending it to, Amazon will always transfer them between their FCs. So there's a lot of different variables to answer this question. But generally, if you wanted a rule of thumb, give yourself at least 2 weeks to have some products live from when it hits their fulfillment center.
What should we do with PPC if the keyword cost is too high? How will we be ranking on this keyword? So I'll give a 30-second answer and then turn it over to you. I think you got to focus on really damn good content. You have to build out 500 words of crawlable text in your A+ content. Main image just needs to be the best in the world. What are your thoughts?
Content is key. A+ is key. Generally, personally, if I see a keyword that is too high, I might not even compete against it. I'm going to try to go a little bit more niche and try to find some keywords that are maybe not the top 3 keywords, and I'll go down to the number 10 keyword or something, and try to really be the best. Hit page 1, rank 1 on a specific keyword that is not something that everybody else is bidding on, or the big guys in the category are bidding on. So it all depends on your strategy. If you want to go up against the ones that are the big guys in that your competitors, then yeah, absolutely make sure all of your content is very well done, and everything is copacetic on it.
What are your thoughts on external traffic? And I assume she means linking this into product launches.
Absolutely a must. There's no way around it anymore. It used to be where you can just do launch your product directly on Amazon, use PPC, and really grow it fast. But now external traffic, Amazon puts such a huge weight on external traffic coming into its website that if you don't have it, you're really shooting yourself in the foot. Make sure that all of your launch strategies and your growth strategy as you go on has external traffic in it.
Amazon will never get rid of Chinese sellers. I agree. They are sucking on that teat, as they would say. It's their biggest source of income and sellers. Maybe inactive sellers, but Amazon just wants to grow year over year. So no question. He's just making a point. Quite frankly, I agree. Should I just focus on PPC for my launch, or should I also focus on external ads like Google, Facebook, Pinterest, Bing? Should I also use influencers for my launch? What should be devoted to PPC versus that external traffic? So I read the second part of her question first. Is there any additional thoughts there?
You definitely should be focusing on all of that. The more you focus, the more traffic you bring from other sites to Amazon, the better your launch is going to be, the more you're going to take full advantage of the honeymoon period. And you definitely want to maximize that as much as possible. Influencers are a must as well.
Here's an intensity question for you. Mindset. Running an Amazon business is complex, often overwhelming. So many levers to pull, buttons to press. You guys seem to be pretty calm about it. How do you remain cool and keep going?
I love this question. All right, so on last Monday or this Monday, I think John was on that meetup. I did a presentation on what I call the X factor that differentiates 7-8 figure Amazon sellers from everybody else. And what that X factor is mindset. It is that the amount of time and energy you devote to actually making sure that your habits, your mindset, all of that is in line, and the foundation that you have set up for yourself as an individual is solid, so that you can build your business on. I'm doing a group coaching program specifically on this topic that starts next month. If anybody's interested, they can go to my I don't know if I can put my coaching website on, but if they are, well, I'll tell you, and you can publish it. But the coaching program starts next month. But it is all about self-development. You have to make sure that the vehicle that you are is fully well oiled. All of the gears are working, and everything is functioning properly. Because if you are tired, if you are angry, if you don't have the right mindset, if you don't have your habits and your daily planner, if you don't have your time management skills, if you're not clear on why it is that you're doing what you're doing, you will never be as successful as you possibly could be on any business, especially on Amazon. So the most important thing, in my opinion, for the success of an Amazon seller to go from, say, a 6-figure to 7-figure, 7-figure to 8-figure, is self-development. It is working on your mindset. It's working on yourself and making sure that you give yourselves the tools and the habits that are necessary for you to be able to level up your business.
I love that question too. It's a good one. And of course, very carefully is the right answer. But yeah, you got to have a passion for what product you're working on or what you're doing, right? Like if you don't have a reason, you don't have an X factor, you're gonna just put up the gloves so freaking fast, because you're gonna get punched in the face by Mike Tyson in the first round in the first 30 seconds. Small example here. I use this one frequently, but like when I launched this hot sauce bottle I've got in front of me here, this is a 4.5-5 pound bottle of hot sauce. It's glass, right? If I dropped it right here 1 foot off the ground, it would break. And I paid Amazon to do the prep work for this glass. Early on in my tenure as an Amazon seller, I was like, oh, I want to be the next hot sauce bottle, right? Well, it turns out after I paid them to do prep work, they did a good job putting it in bubble wrap. Then they threw on the FNSKU label, and then they freaking shipped it out in padded envelopes. So the first 50 orders I had all damaged and sauce everywhere in the envelope, and hot sauce in the laundry room, where people opened up these envelopes, and the pictures I was getting. Worst case scenario. So you're going to get punched in the face by Mike Tyson, a la Amazon's logistics, which is super frustrating, and they won't ship it out in a box. Even if you ask them and demand it and send them 17 different pictures, they still don't ship it in a box. There are a lot of things you got to pay your tax and learn on. Okay, let's go to the next question here. On the test order question, I can afford more orders, but not everyone has a 200 square foot warehouse to store some of the stuff. So I need to do it in patches for space, cash flow, etc. So I try and juggle stock and lead times. So does a At what point does the seller need a 3PL in your opinion?
My entire, if I could redo my Amazon business, I would start with a prep center or a 3PL from day one. My mindset has always been to try to maximize my time so that I'm working on my business as opposed to in my business. It's and anything that I can automate and anything that I can outsource, those are my first two decisions that I make on any new project, any new initiative that I take on. It's extremely important to understand what you're doing. So the first few times you want to actually touch the product and feel the product and see what it takes to actually put it in a bag or whatnot. That's just for knowledge. But in order for you to grow and scale your business, you need to make sure that you are extremely diligent with your time and doing your own labeling, doing your own prepping, doing your own packing, all of that. It's not a good ROI for you, because you can spend that time actually learning more about how to launch your business, how to get more sales, how to find new products, so much other things that are going to really have a needle moving impact on your business. And it won't cost you much to outsource this to a 3PL or a prep center.
I launched my product 14 days ago, sold 109 units since then with my dog product. Congratulations. How much of this was Christmas? I just ordered 1K more units because I have another 140 waiting to be sold. Am I going too big?
No, you're not going too big. There's definitely some aspect of it that's Q4, but 109 units on a launch in 2 weeks, that's amazing. If you get 6 sales a day on when you're launching, you're doing really good. So you've hit something. Yeah, you've hit something. The key is now to maintain this momentum, and you don't want to run out of stock. So it's definitely, you will definitely see a dip come Q1, once Q4 is over. But you should be able to, if there's demand for 109 units in the first 2 weeks of your product, you should definitely be able to grow, to get sales on a regular basis for that. Generally speaking, you want to have, depending on the seller to seller, most sellers want to have about 3 months worth of inventory in stock. They want to reorder every 3 months. Some, if you're larger and you're getting more velocity, you do 6 months. But 1,000 units for your second order with this kind of sales is definitely good. And as soon as that hits your account and starts selling, I would put my third order in as well and go larger.
Okay, so with that in mind, if you had to pick one day during the year and you could only launch on this day and you had to specifically choose which day it was to launch on, which day during the year would you choose, knowing what you know about Amazon?
I would do it in January, personally. I think that January, you're still going to get, a lot of people they call it the Q4 hangover for sellers, right? Sales starts coming down. But Q1 is actually a great time to actually launch if you have the time to do the work during Q4.
And to be clear, I mean, go live, right? So obviously January 1, all the sellers are thinking about launching new products, starting the sourcing journey. But do you mean go live in January?
Go live in Q1. You want to go live in Q1. January 1st, you can't go live because in Q4, you're spending a lot of time actually managing, making sure if you're a brand new seller, and you don't have anything in Amazon to actually do the work for during Q4, and you're researching and ordering during Q4, then yeah, go live in January. There's a lot of people don't talk about it and don't realize, but Q1 is actually, or January specifically, a lot of sales come in to Amazon because of all the gift cards that are given as gifts, all the returns that are done, and you get the credit for them. So there's still a pretty good amount of sales going on. The PPC costs should go down significantly. The storage fees go down significantly. And that gives you a long enough window for you to be able to assess your campaigns without having to pay the Q4 fees, or without having to really incur large, high amounts of storage fees and whatnot that happens during Q4.
I love that. That's a really good point. If you would ask me that question, I would pick probably November 15th, the week before Black Friday, generally. And the reason I like that date is because the winds are in your favor. So I get the benefit of January right after as well. So, if anybody had a crystal ball and they could launch it perfectly, that's the date I would pick. Now, obviously, nobody has the ability to perfectly pick their launch date. So also acceptable today. Today is always the best day to launch, and always just get new product up and running. And obviously that outweighs waiting 10 months to try and figure that out.
The only concern I would have, and the thing, and I agree with you, Q4 is a great time to launch, but recently, especially in the last couple of years, the PPC costs have significantly increased during Q4.
They do.
You have to be cognizant of that. You have to be very aware that you're actually going to be bidding. You have to bid a lot higher in order to be able to be competitive.
So what month would you pick not to launch in?
Q4.
So okay, you pick Q4. Okay.
Because of that, yeah.
I would pick July. July is the weakest time of the year on the entire platform. This is why Amazon came out with Prime Day. And it's just a really weak time to launch a product. The conversion's low, the traffic's low. Everybody's out partying outside, running their vacations. Bad time to sell on Amazon. It's generally the weakest month of the year from my experience.
I love that you say that, because I agree with you, and a lot of people agree with that. I personally have a contrarian viewpoint on that. That's why I wouldn't be adverse to launching during the weak months, because again, everybody else is gone. It's also a really good time to launch if you're doing off Amazon traffic, right? You can really build your traffic at a faster pace, because everybody else is kind of with that mindset of, well, we're going to come back in September.
I have a gift selling background bias, which is why my answers are very different than yours. And so like, I'm like, oh, it's Mother's Day. Let's launch a Mother's Day product. Oh, it's Christmas and there's a new Star Wars program. Let's launch a Tumblr with Star Wars on it. Right. So like, I'm always going with the wave. But your opinions make sense. It's good to hear. It's good for people to hear differing opinions on our podcast. I love it. All right. My product didn't rank yet. It's been almost 3 months. Impressions, very low. So he asked, can you people help me out? Obviously, yes. But what's like 1 or 2 things that somebody should do when their launch doesn't work?
Reassess your campaigns. If you're doing PPC and it's not getting ranked in 3 months, then something is off. When you're launching a product and you're doing PPC 2 to 3 times, if not more a day, you should be checking that strategy and seeing what's happening. If you've gone 3 months without getting ranked and you're doing the right PPC strategies, there's something wrong with the keywords that you're selected. There's something wrong with your bid structure. If you haven't ranked at all and you're not getting any off Amazon traffic, there's something wrong with the way you're doing that off Amazon traffic. And if you're not doing off Amazon traffic, that right there could be a major issue. And you might, if you don't have if you're not using Vine, you need to use Vine to get the reviews. So there's a lot of different reasons, but the simplest one is if you're doing PPC and you're not getting ranked in 3 months, go look at your strategies.
Go look at the strategies. You heard it. All right. How do I find out where my inventory is located? This could be taken a lot of different ways. It could be like, where is it on a container? Where is it at Amazon? So give me whichever way you are feeling. Well,
if you're talking about, is it coming from China to here? If you're using a freight forwarder, some of them have softwares that you can use to sort of track your inventory. If you're talking about where is it within Amazon's network in order to determine what your nexus is, there are reports that you can download within Amazon to get that. You can there are different there are other service providers you can hire that actually can take care of that for you. But I don't know why it would really matter. It used to matter before Amazon collected sales tax on our behalf. We had to figure out where the nexus was so that we paid taxes, sales tax to each state that required it. And companies like TaxJar were doing great for that. But since Amazon started the policy of collecting and remitting taxes on our behalf, we really don't really care where the inventory is as long as it sells.
That's a good way to look at it. John says the Hawks are the NBA equivalent of an Amazon seller support, which is a pretty big insult. Non-starters. Go Celtics. Hawks are playing the Bulls tonight. I am wearing an honorary hat for the game tonight. Claudia says, where should I send my external traffic? My listing storefront, a landing page? I'm confused because I've heard so many different answers to this question. What do you guys think? I think listing. What do you think?
Me too. I send everything to a specific listing. So if I'm If I'm doing any kind of, let's say, an influencer marketing, I make sure that I'm targeting a specific listing or a specific product for that influencer, and I have them send everything to that listing.
The next question is about trademarks or brand registry. So I'm going to be plugging my service here. Christian says, in order to change an attribute, is it absolutely necessary to enroll my brand? I'm going to tell you, Christian, you are insane if you want to sell on the Amazon platform and don't enroll your brand. You've got to do it. It is such an important thing. Not only do you get A+ content, you get premium A+ content, brand stories, advertising benefits, video ads, and quite frankly, you'll sell so much more. And then you'll also get access to all the catalog benefits. So if you haven't got a trademark yet, we'd love your business. Head over to myamazonguy.com/TM, stands for trademark. Order today. If you order it right now, we might be able to get it out in the next 4 hours before the business day is wrapped up. And you'll be able to register your brand in under 7 days on Amazon. One of my favorite ways to plug services is when people ask about something specific, and I never schedule plugs. I always just do it organically like that. All right, let's go to broad match question. PPC question. Do you think broad match and broad match modifiers are good? What are your thoughts?
I don't know much about broad match modifiers. I'll have to.
So I'll help out on this one. So yeah. I'm a huge fan of broad match. The costs on broad match have substantially been more valuable for ROI purposes versus phrase and exact. And that's because everybody and their dogs is putting too much budget on exact match. So that's why broad match is way better than it ever used to be. Broad match modifier is a specific advanced PPC technique. And it's rare to use, but basically it allows you to, if you got exact match where it's exact and phrase where it's phrase, and then you got broad where it's like anything happens. Broad match modifier is like in between those two worlds of broad and phrase, and it's like a middle of the road step. Best way I can explain it. So if you're a sophisticated seller, you're dumping a minimum 20K a month on ads, you should be using it. Before then, not worth your time to even figure out how it works. And we do have some video content on broad match modifier. Just type in broad match modifier, my Amazon guide into Google. You'll find some of it. Why is my ACOS too high? How do I lower it?
You're doing something wrong with your budgeting. Make sure that you have the right budget and the right keywords that you're targeting. Again, like I said earlier, if you're going up against you're going up for the number 1, 2, or 3 position or 3 keywords, and everybody else is bidding on them. You might be your budget might be off. So definitely identify which keywords you're actually going after.
Sardar over on Facebook asks, and this is definitely not on my radar right now, how do you optimize a product for Alexa search?
So I went to Amazon's their conference in Seattle last September, and they were talking a lot about Alexa search, and they're saying this is the next phase of where it's just going to be. They were talking about how they're going to start offering this as part of the A+ premium content for specific brands. So if you have a brand that has, I believe it was 15 different SKUs under it, and you did a specific amount of advertising, then you would get access to specific to A+ premium content. And one of them was to help you really optimize for the Alexa searches. I don't know if it's available for everybody yet, though.
I haven't heard anything about this, so I'm unsure. But one thing that Amazon quietly just released is called Inspire. And that is basically TikTok for Amazon videos with product placements. And that's going to be a thing. That's going to be a really big thing. So I look forward to that. Okay, we sold out. We weren't able to restock, says B&G, due to shipment delays. Nobody ever experiences this. This never happens, right? Third-party seller sold one of our in-store products using our ASIN, which led to a customer leaving a bad review, first ever bad review. Not sure what we can do to remove a review in such a scenario. Well, I don't know if the review is genuine. So like, is it actually of your real product? If so, it's going to be very difficult to remove. If it's an unlegitimate review, you're going to need to make the case, file tickets, and see what Amazon will do. I usually see about a 3% success rate in removing reviews. Any thoughts on this one?
My first and only thought on this is, why is a third-party seller able to list on your listing? Are you not on brand registry? Have you not gated it? Is it open for others to jump on there? Because if you get on brand registry and you have your listing gated, then even if you're stocked out, nobody else should be able to sell your product.
Gavin asks, our volume limit got reduced to a low IPI score. We have since raised our IPI score above the threshold. Do you know when the final checkpoint is so our new volume limit can be put into effect?
Gavin, people are offering a lot of money for right now for anybody to give them an answer to this question.
I don't even think Amazon Seller Support knows the answer to this question.
No, I mean, just to give you, it's not just you, and it's not necessarily just because of your IPI score. Over the last month, maybe even 3 weeks, Amazon has been slashing storage volume. I've had clients and people that I know that have gone from 150,000 available units to 25,000 available units. I mean, it just you should see how many units my clients are shipping back to 3PL here because of this problem. This is just an Amazon thing that for whatever reason they've decided that they're gonna slash. They did it slightly in 2020, in 2021, 2022. 2020 is when all of this stuff really started happening. But it will go back up slowly after Q4 is over.
I think the word slowly is the key word there. Probably sometime well into February. It's my prediction.
Yeah.
All right. Here's a keyword question. We added the main keywords in our backend search term, bullet points already added to the title. How many keyword stuffing can we do? How many keywords can we add to the title? Should we add root phrases keywords? Can we add keywords like garlic press and garlic press stainless steel? Both keywords in the title. No wrong answer to this one. What are your thoughts?
I have always looked at the title I optimize the title for the bots, and I optimize the keywords for the customer. The bullet points for the customer. So my title is always going to be, what is the algorithm going to look for? And I try to put as much of my main keywords I want to rank for as possible on the title. And then the bullet points is where I want to really describe it for my buyer, whatever the main things are. I'll try to put as many keywords as I can in there as well, but it's more targeted towards who is my core customer, who am I trying to sell to, and what are they looking for? And I put my value add propositions within those bullet points.
I'll add to that, and I think that the photos are for humans and the text is for robots. Keywords stuff the hell out of everything. Especially alt text. Couple of keynotes. We have a lot of resources over on our website. Just to plug that real quick, myamazonguy.com/SEO. You guys can download today our full phase 1 SEO guide. Really great for product launches. And we go through all the phases and what to do and what things to not do. A lot of great free SEO tips on the website as well. So check those out if you want to learn more about how to stuff those keywords but not look like a robot at the same time.
Yeah, and if you're on this, watching this, and you haven't watched Steven's YouTube videos on all this stuff, you're missing out.
Hopefully they have by now, but hopefully
right.
you plug this to your audience to watch the virtual video, and we'll pick up a few extra SEO experts along the way. Sure. All right, so I'm going through the chat, see if we can find a couple of good last standing questions. Somebody says, watch tacos to help your IPI. Don't know how many people talk about just ACOS. I wish it was as simple as tacos or ACOS for your IPI score. It's unfortunately not. Amazon's simply out of room, unfortunately. So just going through and looking for a couple other good takeaways. So we got Dominic asks, we created a placeholder listing a couple of months ago for a new product. We're launching end of month. Notice it was FBM quantity 1. Did we mess up our honeymoon period to sell FBA and launch end of month? I can 100% tell you, Dominic, you're safe. You're totally fine. As long as you didn't get a sale, the honeymoon period didn't start. There's going to be a lot of people out there to speculate. Otherwise, I am so confident on this one. You don't have a BSR, so your honeymoon period hasn't started. Now, in the future, don't do that. make sure you set a launch date into the future and then pull it back when you're ready to go live. This protects you. Make sure your A+ is all good. Make sure your PPC is all good. So I had a really strong opinion, so I couldn't help myself taking that question. But do you have anything to add on that one, Ahmad?
I love hearing you talk like that about this issue, because the honeymoon period is such an enigma within the Amazon world. I mean, nobody knows when it starts. Nobody knows really when it ends. We just know that there's something like that exists, but it's the details of it. It's all up in the air and the guess. So the fact that you're this confident about it gives me hope.
I'm glad that's the case. There's a lot of misinformation on, and I hate that word, but it's true in this case. A lot of speculation without facts. Let's go with that. Yeah. On how the honeymoon period works, how Amazon works. But just through data and testing has been my way of coming to the conclusion. So all the things I share are from my personal experience, which is why you guys should work with somebody like Ahmad if you want to source something, because he shares his personal experience. You know what he's been doing and what he is. So let's end with this. What's the biggest mistake you've ever made while selling on Amazon, and what did you learn from it?
Personally,
yes.
I don't know if it's the biggest loss I've taken to date. I don't know if I could have really caught it beforehand, but one of the products that we have launched and it was doing amazingly. The U.S. government just passed a law that kind of prohibits us from being able to sell that product in its current format. So we had to remove everything from Amazon.
Ouch.
I mean, it was a six-figure loss that we had to take, and
Jeez,
now and the law just passed in September. So I don't know if I need to hire somebody to go do lobbying for me or keep an eye on what the government's talking about on the products that we're launching. But it happens, like Stephen was saying earlier. Tyson's going to punch you in the face in this business. You just have to be able to take the punch and then jump up, get back up, and keep going. And that's where the whole mindset program that I was talking about and what we're doing and what I've learned and what my wife has learned, because we both were pretty taken aback by it. We were, we were upset, but it was the practices that we have in place and what we do on a daily basis to sort of make sure that our mind and our energy is in the right place to be able to absorb that and not fold and not let the rest of the business fall apart. It's very easy to do that, right? You have a really big loss, you have something that goes wrong in your life or in your business, and it's very easy to curl up in a ball and say, oh, life's not fair. But if you have the right tools and the right strategies in place to be able, you'll easily be able to overcome all of those. And if okay with you, Stephen, I'm just going to mention my website for the coaching program.
It's thesourcesquad.com for the product sourcing. What's the coaching website?
It's fbaprofits.us.
I've been there before. It was in my history.
.us.
I'm sorry.
Let's go to
.us.
Yep, that's where the coaching program is.
All right, so you guys can check it out. fbaprofits.us. Go ahead and plug it.
The Seller X Factor coaching program. That's what we're launching. There's a 50% off discount for the next 4 days. If you guys are interested, would love to have as many of you. It's a 12-week program. It is going to be 1 hour a week on Wednesdays at 5 o'clock. And there's going to be a lot of worksheets, a lot of great information that's going to come out of that. And I promise you, your life is going to get leveled up. Your business is going to get leveled up. And if you're interested in sort of watching the videos, contact me. I have a meetup video that we did on Monday that we posted in our Facebook group. I can share that as well.
All right, you've heard it there. Ahmad, thanks for coming on today. And if you guys haven't, join up with those meetups as well. Get a lot of extra value from that as well. Thanks for coming on the My Amazon Guy podcast. I will be back myself tomorrow, noon on Thursday, and I will be doing live Q&A with sellers. So if you guys want to sign up for that, we have the meetup already out and about. You can come in and ask me a question live on camera, and I'll spend 5 to 10 minutes with you, one-on-one, talking about your issues. So come back tomorrow. We'll see you then. Thanks for coming on, and that's the My Amazon Guy